Hey guys, what is going on? This is your old pal, CHH. Welcome to Planet CHH. Yeah, this is going to be a fun one today. A movie I didn't think I was actually going to be excited to actually have a conversation with you guys about. So, you know, my wife doesn't really keep up with Scream Factory stuff. I mean, obviously, through osmosis, she sees about, you know, new releases and stuff coming out. But it was the day that I actually did a video on this, and I was working on a thumbnail, and she saw that I was, you know, putting stuff up about Wolfman 2010. She's like, I love that movie. I love that movie. And I was like, wow, I thought that movie had a pretty bad reputation. And I was like, well, I know you have bad... I was making a joke with her. I was like, well, I know you have bad taste in movies, Sydney, so I guess you would like it. And she goes, no, what are you talking about, you idiot? Like, the Wolfman from 2010 is good. I was like, really? So she was like, I really like that poster. I would love to hang that up in our bedroom. I love the old school artwork for, you know, those movies, and I love how simple the artwork was for Wolfman 2010. Get that thing from Scream Factory. So we did. That's why I have it early. And of course, you can get this when it hits retail. You'll be able to get this with the artwork that's just this, but the alternate slip is this right here. And I like it. It's got this really cool old school look. But yeah, this is the Wolfman from 2010, man. Benicio del Toro. Let's talk a little bit about it. This came out in 2010, which is it's an interesting time, right? Because 2010, those kinds of movies, those remakes, they were happening, but not really for old school stuff, right? I mean, this was in the midst of Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. We had just gone through 2 Rob Zombie Halloween films. There was My Bloody Valentine. There was, you know, Night of the Demons. Like, they were redoing everything. Mother's Day, April Fool's Day, everything was getting remade, but not old school stuff. So it seems like it was kind of a sore thumb during that time, and I never saw it in theaters, and I think I might have rented it on DVD not long after that, and I couldn't really remember crap from Crisco when it comes to the movie. But I was excited to rewatch this. I want to say this, you know, there have been some staple remakes of movies that came out during significant periods of time that are culturally significant. I think the biggest one would have to be Dracula 1992, directed by the great Francis Ford Coppola. Did this one. This is a classic. This is one of my favorite horror movies of the 90s, much less, like, you know, what have you. I think this is great. But this may get me in a little bit of trouble with the audience. I don't know. We're going to see what you guys think about this. Another movie that was a big deal after the success of Dracula was Mary Shelley's Frankenstein with Robert De Niro as Frankenstein's monster. I gotta say, obviously this is a different time period. This is 2010. I would take the Wolfman over Frankenstein. Not over Dracula, but I would take the Wolfman over Frankenstein. I really, really liked it. I'm surprised to say how much I liked Wolfman 2010. So this is the reason this movie works. It's a timepiece, and this is the important thing to mention. These kinds of movies just are not for everybody. Timepieces are very difficult because, to me, they either will hold your attention or you will be bored stiff out of your mind. But the thing that I think Wolfman does well is, I think with Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, what bothered me about that movie a little bit, or made me not so much a fan of it, is there's a little bit more going on than I would like to have in terms of how many characters and things like that. But the Wolfman is... They do this perfectly. I'm going to tell you right now, in my opinion, Wolfman 2010 does this perfectly. In essence, you've got 3 characters in this movie. You've got Emily Blunt, Benicio del Toro, and his daddy in the movie, which is played by Anthony Hopkins. That's essentially your 3 main characters and 3 characters in the movie that you're only going to truly focus on. And it's a timepiece, but the story is basic, simple. You don't get lost in too much of that old school jargon and the way they spoke, which could also be a pain in the ass for a lot of people. They don't do none of that. This movie is very simple. Benicio del Toro's brother dies. He is this actor, and he leaves home to go find out what happened. He finds out Satan's beast killed his brother, so he's talking to his brother's wife, and he's staying with them to try to help him figure out what's going on. And in the midst of all that, Benicio del Toro's character gets back in touch with his dad, and the dad is also involved in that. And, of course, there comes the twists and turns. That's basically the plot, and that's what makes it work. It's a timepiece, but after you're watching the movie and you've got the crux of the story and how pure and simple it is about the Wolfman, you forget you're watching a timepiece. That's the beauty of it, and that's why I think it works so well. So as a movie, I'm going to say I'd prefer it over Mary Shelley's Frankenstein from 1994. Maybe some of you are like, well, Christian, that's really an unfair comparison to even make, and I understand that, but because they are remakes of classic movies, I'm just saying it doesn't beat Dracula, but man, I'd take it over Mary Shelley's Frankenstein easily. So the movie's good. Here's the problem with the movie. It's a little bit long, and the biggest problem is the CGI work. It's not that it's horrible, but the fact of the matter is, from what I understand, didn't Rick Baker work on this movie? They had possibly, I think a lot of people will say, even in the business, say that Rick Baker is the best. And we saw what Rick Baker did with werewolf effects. He was in the movie. I think Rick Baker obviously designed the look of the werewolf for the movie, and the look of the werewolf is good. I actually like the look of the werewolf once he's transformed, because it's still in the... he stands up like a man, clearly has the wolf-like features with the big hoofs and the big claw hands, but he still kind of has his clothes on. They're just kind of stretched out and ripped because obviously he grows in them, but he doesn't go full-fledged werewolf appearance like you see in like The Howling or American Werewolf in London. So it's a great, beautiful mix between new school and old school. So that looks great, but the transformation stuff, even though it's decent CGI, you've got the greatest effects guy working on this movie, and you jack-offs swap all this stuff out for CGI. I think that's how the story goes. So yeah, unfortunately, that kind of makes the movie go from like an A to about a B. But it's a good movie nonetheless, and it's a little too long. But Emily Blunt was fantastic in this. Benicio del Toro was sensational. The purity of the story and how condensed it is, guys, that's where the magic is with this. So the movie, I really like it. So let's talk about the picture quality for this. Picture quality should be no surprise, sensational. The movie is a very dark movie. Not in the sense of the scandalous Friday the 13th movie, but just a little bit of a darker movie. I kind of changed my preset on my TV to more of a vivid style, and boom, it was all the nighttime stuff was really, really crystal clear. Not that it's not clear, but you know, it's one of those, again, watching those movies where everything's very dark, sometimes it's like when you're watching with lights on, windows open, it all kind of fights against nighttime scenes. That's just something to consider, but I will say, it's nothing to really fret or no pun intended, bark at. I was really happy with the picture quality. Crisp, very, very crisp. Just really, really good. I'd give the picture quality 9 out of 10. So really happy there. And the audio was sensational. I did do the Dolby Atmos for this, which, yes, this does have Dolby Atmos. And I was super happy about that. The really cool thing about this release, guys, of Wolfman is that it has both the unrated director's cut and the theatrical cut. And here's what I will say. I didn't even bother watching the theatrical cut. I watched the unrated director's cut of this. And the gore was actually impressive because this was like a big, huge movie from Universal. Even though it's from 2010 and the boundaries have been pushed, by this point we had seen, I think, 7 Saw movies. It still looked like a huge movie that was intended for nationwide audiences, worldwide audiences. You think, well, they're not going to go too far, but there was some brutal gore in here, which was impressive. So there's a lot to like about this movie, I think. It's not perfect by any stretch, but I think it's got good merit. So, the audio, I'd give a 10 out of 10. The picture quality, I'd give a solid, strong 9 out of 10. And it's a good movie. But the fact is, it's not for everybody. The best thing I would say if you're interested in getting this movie, if you're not familiar with The Wolfman from 2010, you heard of it, haven't seen it, I hate to say it, but like really, go online, see if you can watch this movie for either free or cheap. Watch half of it. Watch half of it. Get your feet wet with it. And if you're digging it, you'll love this 4K release. The picture quality and the audio were dynamite, and should at this point, guys, in 4K, I think it's safe to say we should expect a certain caliber of quality in picture and audio, and I think we're right to expect that. Not hope for it, but expect it. So this delivers on both those fronts. Now let's talk about the special features real quick, then we'll come back and follow up on the actual physical release. So guys, Disc 1 is the 4K UHD unrated director's cut, which of course I highly recommend watching that. We have a 4K restoration presented in Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos with a new audio commentary with film critic Drew McWeeny. Disc 2 is the 4K UHD disc of the theatrical cut with a new 2024 4K restoration presented in both Dolby Vision and Atmos. Disc 3 is the Blu-ray unrated and theatrical cut, new 4K restorations of both versions, new audio commentaries with Drew McWeeny on the extended version, new new of Fur and Fank. Folklorist and author Dr. Karen Stalsno on Werewolves and the Wolfman. New The Wolfbane Blooms Again. Makeup effects artist David Elsie on the Wolfman. That was a good feature. Not so much the other one in my opinion, but that one was a good feature. Alternate endings, deleted and extended scenes, Return of the Wolfman featurette, The Beastmaker featurette, Transformation Secrets featurette, and The Wolfman Unleashed featurette. Most of those at the end are obviously legacy features. Like I said, this is the limited slip, which we got. Obviously, if you don't want this, which I don't think it's sold out, but you can get it with just the regular release, which has this artwork, which this was the classic artwork. You'd get that kind of slipcover with it as well. 3 discs. So you've got your 4K director's cut, which is what I watched. You have the theatrical cut, 4K as well. And then the Blu-ray has both the theatrical and unrated cut on there, which is very important because this is not a release that had a Scream Factory release before. So this is the first time this movie has come out from Scream Factory. So good on them to say, hey, even if you're a Blu-ray customer of ours, you can get this release and be totally satisfactory with having the features available and having both cuts available as well. And I always like to pop these on to show you guys, to talk about the picture quality on the Blu-ray scan. And of course, it's sensational. It's sensational. When you put it on the 4K player and the 4K TV, sometimes it's kind of hard to tell the difference, quite frankly. So there you have it. All in all, guys, I would give this release 1 thumb up. Would have liked a little bit more in features, but not bad, I guess. The effort's there, and I appreciate that. But it's a well-rounded release for people that are not only 4K people, but also Blu-ray people. And it's a movie that it's just not for everybody, but I think this movie will definitely resonate with a lot of people seeing it for the first time. So let me know your thoughts on The Wolfman from 2010, guys. I think it is a damn good movie, and I take it, like I said, I take it over Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, although I still like that movie a lot. But there you have it, guys. Let me know what you guys think. If you saw this movie in the theater, if you remember the kind of the controversy behind the scenes of stuff getting swapped out for, CGI and all that sort of stuff, let me know down below. But for now, this is your old pal CHH Ching. Check out 2010's The Wolfman. I'll see you guys next time. Huge, giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind-the-scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.